Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Dr. Supriyono, Master of Education as Examiner. The Honorable Ma'am Dian Fadilawati, Master of Education as the First Advisor. The Honorable Dr. Ines Baharul Ulum, Master of Education as the Second Advisor. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lutfi Nuraini Ismaiyah. In this occasion, I want to present my thesis proposal. This thesis proposal is presented as a part of requirement in completing undergraduate study. The title of my thesis proposal is Developing Hopscotch for Learning Reading of Descriptive Text in Junior High School. Structure of my presentation consists of 4 chapters. Chapter 1 is Introduction, that consists of research background, research problems, research objectives, research significances, research scope and limitations, and key terms definition. Chapter 2 is Literature Study, that consists of theoretical review, that include definition of reading skill, difficulties in reading skill, principles of teaching reading skill, definitions of hopscotch, review study, theoretical framework, and research hypothesis. Next, research methodology, that consists of research approach and research design, research framework, and research procedure. And the last chapter is references, background of the study. The first is policy study. Policy study that analyze a Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia, Article 31, Section 1, and Law Number 32 of 2013. The second is field study, that use instrument, interview, observation, and documentation. And the third is literature study. There is a theories of Ismayanti 2016 that has result there was an increase in self-control after treatment of hopscotch. From the field study, I get a problem. The problem is many of the students in Islamic Junior High School 2, 5, and 8 later at 7th grade got difficulties in learning for reading skill of descriptive text. So I give a potential solution to use hopscotch as an alternative media for learning reading of descriptive text. So I will do research with the title Developing Hopscotch for Learning Reading of Descriptive Text in Junior High School. I have 3 research problems. They are: the first is, how is the model of hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text in junior high school? The second is, how is the appropriateness of hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text in junior high school? And the last is, How are the teachers and students' responses toward the use of hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text in junior high school? Objectives of the study also consist of three. The first is to know the model of hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text in junior high school. The second is to know the appropriateness of hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text in junior high school. The last is to know the teachers' and students' responses toward the use of hopscotch for learning descriptive text in junior high school. Significances of the study. The first is for school. The result is expected to give contribution to school, especially in providing interesting alternative learning media that will be useful either for teacher or students. The second is for teachers. The results of this research are expected to provide an alternative media by using hopscotch for teaching reading of descriptive text. The third is for students. The results of this research are expected to providing students a fun and interesting game for learning reading, especially descriptive text. And the last is for future researchers. The result of this research can be used by future researchers as references to conduct the research with the different topics. Scope and limitation of the study are focused on developing hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text for 7th grade students in junior high school. I will develop hopscotch based on 2013 curriculum in the second semester. The text is limited on descriptive text, especially descriptive text of person, animal, and thing. The text is included in Basic Competencies 4.7 and 4.7.1 of 2013 curriculum. Definition of the key terms. The first is hopscotch. According to Crowber and Luge, hopscotch is one of the new genres of learning games that not only seeks to combine playing and learning, but also introduces exercise as a principal component. The second is reading. Reading skill is the ability of an individual to read, comprehend, and interpret written words on a page of an article or any other reading material. IDICA 2017. The third is descriptive text. Delman 2018, page 94, states that descriptive text is a text that describes a certain object or event in clear and detailed words, as if the reader feels and experiences what the writer describes. Chapter 2, Literature Study. Theoretical Review and Analysis. Theory of Al-Obaidi 2017. Reading is a process of interaction between the reader and the materials in which all the schematic knowledge being interacted with all the reader's social and contextual factors. Theory of Farlex 2016. Hopscotch is a young learner game in which players throw a small thing into a numbered space of a pattern of rectangles outlined on the land and then hops past the spaces to retrieve the object. Review of related previous researches. Research by Fadli, 2018. Learning media Padlet franchise is proper to use in teaching learning process of speaking skill of French to 10th grade students. Research by Ismayanti, 2016. There was an increase in self-control after treatment of hopscotch. In conclusion, hopscotch is useful as media in teaching learning process. Theoretical thinking framework. Potency and problem. Lack of media for learning reading. From the problem, are such four theories. They are theory of reading, theory of descriptive text, theory of media, and theory of hopscotch. And then are developing hopscotch to solve the problem. And then are treatment hopscotch to the teachers and the students. After treatment, I give them questionnaire to know the teachers and the students' responses. From the teachers and students' responses, I know the impact of hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text. Hopscotch has positive influence in learning reading of descriptive text in junior high school. So, hopscotch contributes to solve the problem. Hypothesis. Hopscotch has positive influence in learning reading of descriptive text in junior high school. Chapter 3. Research methodology. Research approaches and design. Research approaches. In this research, I will use two research approaches. They are qualitative approach and quantitative approach. I will use qualitative approach because I will use instruments, interview, observation, and documentation. I will use quantitative approach in the form of the result of materials and media validation, and also teachers and students' responses. Research design. In this research, I will use research design, research and development or R&D adopted from Sugiono that consists of 6 steps. The first step is data collection and finding potential and problem. To collect the data, I use instruments, interview, observation, and documentation. By using this instrument, I got the problem there. Many of the students in Islamic Junior High School 2, 5, and 8 later at 7th grade got difficulties in learning for reading skill of descriptive text. And then I give a potential solution to use hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text at 7th grade students. The second step is design and development. In this step, I design and develop hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text at 7th grade students. The third step is expert validation and revision. After design and develop hopscotch, I will go to the expert to validate my product and revise if the product needs to revise. The fourth step is teachers and students' responses. After revise the product, treatment the teachers and the students with hopscotch to know their responses. After know the teachers and the students' responses, I will do the fifth step, that is evaluation and revision. In this step, I will evaluate and revise my product so that my product can valid and can be a learning media in the teaching learning process. The last step is final product and publication. I will publish my product, that is hopscotch, especially for 3 schools where I did preliminary. They are Islamic Junior High School 2, 5, and 8 later. Product design plan. Phase 1 research. Potency, problem, and need analysis. Policy study that I analyze law number 32 of 2013 and Permendikbud number 67 2013. Case study. The populations are teachers and students of Islamic Junior High School 2, 5, and 8 Blitar. Sample will be taken by purposive sampling. Purposive sampling is a sample determination technique with certain consideration. Sugiono 2016. The sampling was aimed to determining key information. The location of my field study are Islamic Junior High School 2, 5, and 8 Blitar. The key information will be chosen by snowballing technique. According to Sugiono 2016 page 1985, snowballing technique was the initial sample determination technique was small, then be enlarged. Instrument and method of data collection. The first is interview. In this research, I used structured interview because before interview, I had prepared the interview guidelines. When interview, I look the interview guidelines to guide my interview, and sometimes I develop the questions based on the situations. The second instrument is observation. I use participant observation because when I observe, I join the teaching-learning process. The third instrument is documentation. In this research, I use documentation, contact summary from Mills and Haberman in Dull and Reinhardt, 2014, page 55. The documentation consists of students' scores of reading. To analyze data, I use interactive data processing technique. To get the problems, the result of field study will compare with the result of the policy analysis. I will use triangulation and checklist of participants to ensure the quality and reliability of the data. For validity checking, I will use triangulation of source and method. By comparing interview outcomes between the teachers and the students, and comparing the result of interview, observation, and document. Phase 2. Product design and development. In this research, I will use instructional design and development approach ADDIE model. ADDIE is the acronym of Analyze, Design, Development, Implement, and Evaluate. Criteria of the product. This product is aimed to develop hopscotch for learning reading of descriptive text to the 7th grade students of junior high school. Specification of the product. The first is for card. The card would be consist of material and exercises. Total item of the questions would be 40 questions. The material is descriptive text. The exercises would be matching, multiple choice, and blank word. Guidebook. The guidebook will include 2 guidebooks. They are guidebook for teacher and guidebook for student. The paper of the book would be A5 paper size. The font of the writing would be Arial 10 pt. The content of guidebook for teacher would be cover, preface, table of contents, about reading, about hopscotch, how to use hopscotch, material, exercise, scoring rubric, lesson plan, references, and about the author. The content of the guidebook for students were cover, preface, table of contents, how to use hopscotch, material, exercise, references, and the last is about the author. Page 3. Product tryout. Research design, research and development. Research instruments, interview, observation, and documentation. Data analysis, use interactive data processing technique. Population, teachers and students of Islamic Junior High School 2, 5, and 8 Blitar. Formula for data analysis. SK equal NPR. SK is criteria score, N maximum score, P the total of item questions, and R is the total of subject. Product publication. I will produce the real product that will include hopscotch board, gajo, cards, and 2 guidebooks. Then, I will publish the product in limited school, especially for the school where I did preliminary. The year Islamic Junior High School 2, 5, and 8 Blitar. References: Evinia Susandi 2019, Husnulaili and Dede Yudi 2018, Fadli 2018, Sriwidari et al. 2018, Dio Alvisar and Amalik 2016, Dian Amelia Skarini and An Fauzia Rozani Shafei 2016, Loviana Dini Ismayanti 2016, Nobilayanti et al. 2016, Martina Luch and Steffi Heidi 2013, and the last is Fitra Pinandita 2013. That's all my thesis proposal. Thanks for your attention and the last essay. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.